Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to episode 6 of the Blazer Golf Podcast. On the Blazer Golf Pod, we talk about topics all across the world of golf. And today we're going to nerd out a little bit.
Yep.
Joined here with Liam and myself. We have our other guys, but they're not around today, unfortunately.
Yeah, spring break's around the corner, so
People
we're
are busy.
all busy and traveling and whatnot. But we're gonna get some content out for you guys. Hopefully, it'll be a good episode.
Of course. If you guys aren't following our socials and staying updated with us and what we're doing, there are links in the description. There's also the donation link, which is there.
Yes.
And if you hit our link with our socials, if you go even lower, you'll see all of our channel affiliates too.
Yeah.
Some codes that'll save you some money on some cool stuff.
Quick updates. We had a video drop last Friday that you guys should check out on the YouTube. Really cool 9-hole course vlog when we went up to Heritage Country Club. Oh yeah,
Liam did some really crazy work on this. We haven't seen it yet, so this is post-published.
It is good, so go do yourself a favor, check it out. If you're watching this on YouTube, it should be right on the channel.
Yeah.
So
probably watch it before you watch this, but no.
But let's get right into it. So what are we talking about today, Mike?
So today Liam and I, when we're on our own here, we are gonna take it a little bit deeper and dive into some, an interesting topic that we've kind of touched on very little before. Just touching up on course design, and because it's such an umbrella topic, we could really go anywhere with it. We're gonna try and stick to these, two specific topics, and then try and contain all the bullshit that we're probably gonna say.
Yeah, because it is tough. When we were trying to brainstorm this podcast today, we're like, course design, that's really broad.
Yeah, no, you can really go all over the place with it, and we really wanted to stick to two different things. And if there's more of a conversation that you guys want to hear us talk about and you want to get involved with it, feel free to send us, some feedback on what you think.
Yeah.
So two things we are going to stay on is we're going to pick two courses. We're going to pick Augusta National. We're going to take St. Andrews. We're going to compare them. I wouldn't say compare them, but we're going to talk about the design of those courses, how it impacts the events that are played there, and kind of, I think with St. Andrews being the first golf course, we can talk about how that design has stayed timeless, but also compare it to how modern courses, or more modern courses, if you can call Augusta modern, compare it to how Augusta is created and just the complete difference with it.
Yeah. So I guess where I'm going to start, both courses are obviously super iconic and
two of the
great.
most.
We're going to see both of them this year in major championship play, which we're super blessed.
So excited for that.
Cannot wait for that. This will be a cool, maybe to go back and listen to this before. But I guess I'll start off with the old course since it's,
let's start from the beginning.
I do know, I don't know, it's obviously we're comparing a link style course, like super old fashioned link style.
Yeah.
To
the oldest fashion.
To like, like super undulating greens. And St. Andrews, their greens are also not.
Oh yeah, no,
they're hardcore too. Trust me.
No. Any course that's legit is gonna have brutal greens. Actually, no. This is actually a good way to start. Green complexes.
Yeah. A lot smaller greens at Augusta,
massive,
as you would imagine.
Greens.
But I don't know. When you think of, let's just start with the first hole on each. They're both par fours, right?
Mm-hmm.
Think of how different those are, right? St. Andrews, flat, short.
The widest fairway. Huge, inviting.
You're not thinking about bogey probably, unless it's a crazy, but Augusta National, that hole, it's pretty tough. I'm not going to say it's the toughest hole in the course, but it's no joke.
It's not an easy starting hole, I'll tell you that.
You got, what's it, like 450?
Yeah.
Bunkers on the right, pine straw trees on the left. You got to thread it right into this, like, sweet spot of the fairway, which is around, like, 300, 320, where pros hit it.
And then if you don't hit the center.
You got a green that's going all over the place. It's just, I don't know, like, it's when you're talking
it's Augusta, man.
When you're talking about, like, a test of golf, you're testing everything on the golfer on the first hole at Augusta. Like, if we went and played there, we'll probably make bogey or double for our first time.
Oh, absolutely. I feel you're not shooting well.
Whereas St. Andrews, I'm not going to say it's easier, but I think it's easier
layout wise
in comparison to championship Augusta course.
Yeah, if we take all the external factors out of play of like condition of day, let's imagine that in England we're gonna have the same exact day as southern United States.
Let's imagine.
It's not
even a question.
Let's imagine, right, that it's not 30-mile-an-hour winds. Let's imagine calm, 75 degrees, perfect day, right? Where are you shooting better? Like,
yeah.
St. Andrews 100,000%, right?
Yeah, that's not even a question.
That's not even a question. So, but the thing is that the thing that makes St. Andrews so fucking difficult is the wind. It's the external factors.
And just the ball is just staying on the ground, right? When you think of Augusta, like, these guys are stopping it. And yes, it can play firm, but on the greens, if it's, when Tiger won, right, that Sunday, like, they're making...
Which Sunday? You won a lot of Sundays.
The most memorable one, I think, of recent history.
Oh, yeah, the one that I wasn't playing golf in, right? Yeah,
but, that one. At St. Andrews, you don't see guys, spinning it back 20 feet.
Oh, no, you
Unless
can't.
it's maybe into the wind or something. But
yeah,
their tee shots are going 400 yards. I mean, that's different because you got to not only control the shot you're going to hit, but you also have to control where it's going to go once it hits the ground. And that can be out of your control sometimes.
Yeah.
And I think, in my opinion, the Open Championship at St. Andrews doesn't test the skill of golf to the degree that Augusta does.
Well, obviously, it's the first course ever made. Like, you can make it as brutal as you want, but at the end of the day, all of these pros, if you're on the PGA Tour, there's a very good chance you've played St. Andrews at least once, either prior in, your upcoming events.
Anyone can play it. So
anyone can play it.
Probably.
So, I guarantee you that a lot of these guys have played St. Andrews. And even if you haven't played it for the first time, I don't think you're going to go into an event without playing, England links golf, which personally isn't something that we can't really, attest to. But, this is a stretch, but, to a degree, we can sort of relate to how, like, the United States has that kind of standard of golf throughout, we're on the East Coast. It's East Coast golf. It's very similar because, up and down the East Coast, you're having a similar terrain, I'd say.
Everything's obviously going to be...
It's not in the same exact place, so it's not going to be exactly the same. But, we can much more easily, we can easily compare our environment to, we can compare our East Coast environment easier to Augusta rather than St. Andrews.
Absolutely.
100%. Like, it's a complete, over the pond.
I think
it's a long par. It's a long par 3 over that pond.
I think St. Andrews, obviously, to win anything, you need to be lucky and get good breaks and everything. But I feel like at St. Andrews, just like with some of the kicks you get, some of the, I'm not gonna say the greens are flatter. Obviously, they are than Augusta, but they're still super undulated and everything. I'm not trying to take anything away from it. I don't want it to seem like
massive though.
Yeah, and you do need to get lucky to a degree, I think, to win that. Whereas like Augusta, look at the leaderboard every year. The best players are up there. I mean, there's much fewer oddballs that have won. And when I say oddballs, I mean like you go back to like the early 2000s. There's some like not nobodies who have won the Open, but like it's more so like if you peak at a week and you get lucky and you make some putts, like
you could win at St. Andrews.
The top 200 in the world could win at St. Andrews, right? And obviously it's not gonna happen a lot, but it's possible. Whereas like I bet you at Augusta, the 200th ranked player in the world has zero chance of winning, right?
Yeah, remember
no matter how lucky they get.
Remember when Bryson said that Augusta was going to be a par 68?
Yeah, that did not, and then he missed the cut. No, I think he made the cut on the number, but I think Bernard Langer beat him that week, like some 60-year-old guy. So
that just goes to show, guys, that Augusta is a course that, I know Tiger can play with his eyes closed. We saw him absolutely rip it apart in '97. Or we didn't see it, but we've seen it way after. But no, it goes to show that the test of golf is so much different, regardless of, how difficult those courses are.
Yeah.
They're both difficult in their own right.
You see these great ball strikers do well. Yeah, I mean, they're going to do well at... Great ball strikers are going to do well everywhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just... But I think you see... good putters up at Augusta. Obviously, Augusta's greens are just almost non-comparable, right?
Stupid.
I mean, they're just glass,
Stupid fast.
super undulating. Like, it's not only you need experience to play there, but you need just insane touch and
You need that
control.
world-class touch.
Whereas,
oh my
at
God.
St. Andrews, they do, I'm sure, during championship week, it's really fast and everything, too, but they're probably straighter, more makeable putts, right?
Yeah, no,
We
that's
can agree
fair.
on that.
I'd say that's fair.
Yeah. But they're all huge greens, so you could have an 80-foot putt. And good luck with that.
Yeah, no, for real. That's one of the things about, I think, England golf that we can kind of talk about real quick is that a lot of courses over there have larger greens.
Yeah.
It might be a flatter area than, what we're used to, but the greens are huge. So, you can hit our misses with a pitching wedge. Let's say you're 150 or whatever your pitching wedge number is out. Full pitching wedge, stock wedge, whatever. We can hit a great pitching wedge and be, let's say a great shot with pitching wedge is like 15 feet. You think that?
Yeah, sure.
That's fair. 15 feet, maybe 25, 30 on an average wedge. If you hit a really bad pitching wedge here, you're going to be somewhere off the green.
Yeah, exactly.
You hit a really bad wedge in, on one of those kind of courses, you're going to have, like you said, an 80-foot putt.
I'm not necessarily saying I'd rather have an 80-foot putt than a chip.
I would so much rather have a chip than an 80-foot putt.
But that's a part of the test. People say, like, oh, it's a defense mechanism. If the greens at St. Andrews were smaller, I don't know if that would. I mean, I guess people, like especially pros, would two-putt more than probably get it up and down.
Mm-hmm.
But for golfers like us, like I'd probably three-putt. I mean,
absolutely.
I'm three-putting out here on these from 20 feet, like 20% of the time.
You want to like quadruple the distance and test your luck? Like, right? No way.
Hell no.
No way. That's a great course design, though.
Yeah.
And it's a defense on the greens.
Whereas Augusta, it's like, the greens are smaller. If you miss them, they're still hard to get up and down. That's where I think it's like, if you shorten the green, if you made the greens smaller, if you took all the greens from Augusta, right, 1 through 18, and you just put them on St. Andrews.
Dude, that's a hard course.
Yeah. I mean,
that's so hard.
With the wind, you could literally hit a perfect shot and it just can't stay on the green.
No, it wouldn't stay on the green. You're absolutely right.
So I think they obviously
they
test two different games. Obviously, like links golf, you can't get away with. You can't fake it, right?
No.
You do need to be striping the ball, right?
Absolutely.
You can't. But I don't know. Whereas Augusta also will embarrass you if you're not putting well. If you're not hitting it well there too.
Or you're not being like an elite golfer. You're just going to get embarrassed.
Yeah, right. And the Open, I don't know. I think the Open's, obviously all golf tournaments are tests of patience.
Mm-hmm.
The Open, I think, really tests it. Just literally stay in contention until Sunday. And if you're within 8 shots going into Sunday, like, you got a chance.
Yeah.
At Augusta, I don't know, man. I don't think you have a chance if you're 8 shots back. Spieth, if you're Spieth, maybe.
I like that point that you just said. To kind of tie this back to the actual design itself, point I'll make is anybody can play St. Andrews.
Yeah.
Not many people can play Augusta.
No, and I bet your average, say a 10 handicap is shooting well lower at St. Andrews.
Oh my God. Yeah, no, I completely, no.
I think I agree. There's still trouble, but
you have so much more room. I feel like a lot of golfers who are in that, 8 to 12, let's say 8 to 12 handicap, because that's pretty relatable to a lot of people who listen. Their off the tee game is all right. Their approach game is probably where they're hurting a lot. And then, their short game and putting is just, it's hard.
I think
it's a part of your game.
If you miss the green on St. Andrews, you're going to get it up and in less shots than Augusta.
Absolutely. That's the point I'm making.
And also, if you think, just really quick, I don't know if even I would be able to finish the 12th hole at Augusta.
No.
I mean, if I go long, I'm in the flowers. If I go short, I might make a 12 on that hole, and I don't know.
And you have a good short game.
I have a decent short game.
You have a better short game than I do, by a long shot. Your short game and chipping you have a lot more feel than, that scares me. I feel like, to kind of finish my point and to kind of add on what I was about to say was, I feel like off the tee, 10 handicap, you're going to hit a hell of a lot more fairways at St. Andrews than Augusta.
Oh, yeah.
100%. And, you might have a little bit longer in on your approach shots because, with wind and external factors.
But the ball's roll on the ground, too.
But the ball's going to roll. Like, you can play with those, the fairways up and down.
The only way you might shoot higher at St. Andrews is if you get in some of those pot bunkers.
Oh, dude.
But at that point, if you're just playing smart and you just punch out backwards, you'll be okay. I don't know. But you could also just 8-putt on Augusta. So I don't know.
You're definitely losing. If you're not losing shots in one area, you're losing them in another.
All I'm gonna say, and this is where I'm gonna net out, right? If I play PGA Tour right now, 2K, I'm shooting way lower on St. Andrews than Augusta. Trust me.
That is a great point, and I can't agree with you more. Pot bunker versus Augusta green. Add it. Liam, this is a great segue. This is another Augusta versus St. Andrews in terms of where you're going to shoot lower. These questions are things that we've alluded to, that things we could add in our upcoming project that we're going to release to you guys. So you want to kind of tell them what's up?
So,
quick intervention. By
the time this podcast is out, there will be it might not be out yet. I'm going to see. We'll see. But we're doing a interactive bracket. So it's kind of like
where you guys get involved.
Yeah, think like a tournament bracket, right? We're going to have 16 things on both sides. So, for example, we're going to do like hook versus slice, right?
Yep, hook versus slice.
Which one would you rather have? You vote on it. It advances to the next round to go against, I don't know. Visor versus hip towel, right?
Visor versus hip towel.
Okay, hopefully hip towel doesn't win. All right. Next thing you know, it's visor versus slice. What would you rather have, a visor or a slice? And then that'll go to the next round. So we'll have that, and we'll see what is the champion of, I guess we'll call it hack culture.
Right? Yeah. This is a hack culture bracket, guys. So we're going to have some fun
on that.
with it.
It's going to be great. I'm going to finish up the graphics and make sure we have all the
it's going to be
items
fun.
Awesome. So, yeah, it's going to be, I guess, it'll probably take a week or two to complete, but we need you guys to
get on it.
We need you guys to be there and voting, because if you would rather see a hook and slice is winning, you need to, get on your shit and vote hook.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Obviously, if you guys want to see a hip towel beat a visor, but we obviously don't need hip towels anyway because we have the Caddy splash brush.
Yes.
But no, if you don't want to see a hip towel win, or you do want to see a hip towel win, which you should see a hip towel win, beat against a slice, you guys should definitely get on that. So, Liam, where can they find this? Where can you guys find this?
So this is going to be taking place on our Instagram story. So
and our Facebook, which is coming out soon.
Yeah. So we will pretty much how it'll happen is we'll post a picture of the bracket, and then I don't know, probably we'll do a few days of voting for each round.
Link is in the description.
Yeah. First round, we'll have all the matchups. You'll just go on our Instagram story. We'll have the polls. You vote which side you like.
Yep.
And then that'll advance on to the next round, and
it's gonna be good.
So make sure you get on that. That'll be coming out right around when this podcast drops.
And if you guys have anything that if this podcast goes up and it's not up yet, and we ask for suggestions, feel free to add it because you could be on here. Like anything that you guys add, it could be on this bracket, and that would be that's your suggestion. That's your vote.
And if you want to see that vote win, you got to get started.
Yeah, you got to get on it.
Yeah, make sure you check that out. And
it's gonna be a lot of fun. I know I'm gonna have fun with it.
Yeah,
our three guys are gonna vote, so we're gonna have our own little bias here, but it's gonna be cool.
All right. Before we hop into our next topic, which is what we're gonna talk about, course anticipation.
Yep.
Let's take a quick break and check in with our fellow sponsors.
Yeah.
We take a quick break to check in with our friends over at Left Behind Golf.
Hey, Lefties, what's going on? We have a really cool company here.
Really
in Toronto.
Cool company. Our great friends over at Left Behind Golf Company. You want to tell us a little bit about them, Mike?
So based out of Toronto, Canada, a small startup in the year 2020. It's the only lefty exclusive golf brand ever, actually, that we know. They make some great apparel, gloves, hats, quarter zips, all lefty based and backed by lefties and for lefties.
By lefties, for lefties. We have a discount code MKeef10.
Yep, 10% off site wide.
So go do that now. They got some great stuff, and they've been helping us out over here. So do us a favor and go check out their stuff.
Hell yeah, Left Behind Golf, baby. Go get it. Guys, there's nothing worse than having dirty clubs on the course and not having like a wet brush or towel to clean.
I have been dry spitting. My clubs have not been clean. They have not been clean.
Yeah. So,
and I keep hitting them.
Yeah, the best way to clean your clubs is to get a Caddy Splash brush. Inside the handle of the brush here, you'll see, squeeze some water out, comes right down onto the grooves.
Guys, I used it today. We played golf today. I used it. Trust me, it works. It's sick. It's not like this weird thing that you'd think, oh, like, does it really clean my clubs? Yes, it cleans. Legit. Yes, it cleans your clubs.
It's legit.
And they make them look brand new.
Seriously, dry towel, looks awesome. Swipe them down. Caddy Splash, we also have a code for you, 10% off. Use code BLAZER, checkout, get yourself a brush. They have apparel, and It's backed by some great guys over in Arizona. So please support Caddy Splash. They help us out. Great guys and a great product. It's something you really need in your golf bag. Don't use a hip towel. Come on.
Yeah. Caddy Splash, get yours today.
Get it.
Back to the pod.
Are you tired of spending $40 to $60 on premium golf balls and losing them? Are you tired of missing putts because you can't align the ball correctly on the greens? Yeah, it's a struggle. We all face it. Nobody likes losing a brand new golf ball. What if I told you that there's a golf brand that fixes all of those issues and fits a specific golf ball to whatever your game requires? Yup, it exists, with the golf balls created and produced by Piper Golf. Based out of Atlanta, Georgia in the United States, offering a range of 4 golf balls and an online fitter to perfectly fit and find what golf ball works best for you and your game. Save money and save your game with Piper Golf.
Snap back, and we're back at it in a different room for you guys on YouTube. Anyway.
Change of scenery, but
yeah, no.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. We're good.
But yeah, back to what we were talking about. Course anticipation.
Yeah, interesting topic.
So very relatable for everyone. We talk about when you go to the course for the first time, or just any round, right? I mean, like, what are your thoughts from a, I guess, casual standpoint, experience standpoint, and then what we're going to touch on, a competitive standpoint?
Yeah, so pre-tournament versus, just going out with your boys and hanging out and just having fun. So there's definitely a difference when you're playing a course for that, to go have fun, and to play it in a competitive or some sort of, you got money on the line, or if you've, some sort of, even a personal challenge. There's different ways that you look at a course. So we're going to dive into that. Liam, you want to start with that?
Yeah, I guess I'll just say, like, when I go play a course, I try to do a mixture of everything. I try to take in the experience. I try to take in, what it has to offer and how I'm going to do my best there. Because I'm not going to just hit it around, I want to play well, as I'm sure everyone does. But I think, for example, we just played Heritage, right? First time I've ever been there.
Mm-hmm.
When we get to the first, when we get there, I'm looking around, I'm taking in, the clubhouse, the greens, the practice green, I'm trying to get a sense for it. And then, we get to the course, and I'm not really looking at the scorecard too much. I'm more worried about, like, oh, like, this is a cool par 4 where I got to hit it, like, oh, it's kind of funky looking, like, and it was a slow round, so we had time to look around. But yeah, I'm just taking in a lot more than, how I'm going to swing the club. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Your head's kind of away from the golf. And I feel like that's something that a lot of competitive players should do more, and a lot of, and for people who take golf like less serious, or people who are going to have fun, like, I feel like you could learn a lot from challenging yourself a little bit and kind of looking past those things if you can. To kind of touch on that point of Heritage, like, it was a course I've played, once or twice before, and it's a weird design. It's not a course that you'll go to the first time and be like, know exactly what's in front of you. Like, there's a lot of hard dog legs. Even in the winter, you can't see the greens from the tee box to the trees. And there's a lot of really funky holes. You guys will have seen this in the video.
Yeah, the video that came out.
Back nine, it's a weird back nine. There's a lot of blind tee shots, a lot of shot tracers going where you guys can barely see the ball hand.
Yeah.
So, interesting course, but from a competitive standpoint, I think both of us would look at that course way different than how we saw it when we played it.
And I am one of those who falls victims to, like, if we went back to Heritage, I'd be like, oh, I'm gonna light that course up next time.
Yeah.
And it's just not like that. Golf's not like that, you know. We don't have the benefit of having the consistency of like tour pros. We can't go and rely that we're gonna hit it as good the next day and have the same conditions. So
I agree.
It's all tough. But that being said, when we do go to a course, like for our tournaments, like last fall, we went up to Vermont, right?
Mm-hmm.
You hop out of the van, okay, now go score, right?
Yeah.
It's not like, it's a cool experience and everything, but like, you're not there to take photos of the freaking course.
That's true.
You're there to play, and it's like, what's the difference of the mindset when you're hopping out and you need to go make the lowest score possible rather than, you show up, you take your time, you take things in.
Yeah, so you look at the course a lot more statistical, you look at it a lot more physical. Like, you'll think about it like, oh, there's a par 4 I've played like this before. So the example that I like to make is, if you have a standard pitching wedge into a green, right, whatever that number is, you get the number to the front, the middle, and the back of the green, and you kind of shoot the treble with a rangefinder. Like, if you're out there with your boys, you're going to get the number. You'll be like, oh yeah, it's around 150, for example, or whatever. Like, you're not going to get like 154 or 160. You're not going to take in the wind, like, and you're going to just see it as, this is my approach shot. You're not going to see it as like, wow, like, the green's really well designed in defense. Like, let's say it's like a kidney-shaped green with a bunker that kind of takes it in. Like, you're not looking at the beauty of that, and you're not like, wow, like that's a really good design. Like, if I'm on the second hole, like that's a pretty tough green to hit on the second hole. It kind of starts you to, it causes you to think really early in your round. You're not thinking of that, right? You're like, this is the same thing as the 16th hole. It has the same weight, da-da-da. You're thinking more golf strategy rather than golf beauty.
Yeah. And that, even when it comes to just like reading your putt, right? Say you have a 10-foot.
Oh, absolutely.
Like,
dude, great.
I can't tell you the amount of times when this is on me to a degree, but like if we're just playing at practice and I have 10 feet, like I might not even mark it, right? If you know the course, when you don't know the course, man, like you're trying to read the greens, you're trying to figure it out. On top of that, like if like you said, like you get more dialed in, and that's a reason that like I do like competitive golf, is because it gives me the motivation to do that, because I know that shot matters, right? Like it's gonna affect my score. Whereas like a practice round, like I could hole out for eagle, right? And it's not really, it doesn't really matter to my score because that score is irrelevant. Yeah. So that's how I think of it. It's definitely, you go way more into detail, like you said, with the number, the wind.
Yeah.
I look at where to miss.
Yeah, that's another thing too.
What's the most makeable putt, right? When I'm chipping, if I miss the green, like, I don't want to give myself a downhill slider. Where can I give myself an uphill, preferably left to right putt?
No, I agree. So, to kind of touch on a really quick example, like a lot of the courses in Cape Cod and Massachusetts, the ones that we played, Starboard and Port of the Captain's Course, like those are two courses that you'd love to just go and enjoy, because it's beautiful.
It's a resort. They're resort courses. I mean, they're not meant. I mean, they're obviously really good tournament courses, but like
you're going down there to enjoy.
Yeah, it's more of a luxury rather than a competitive round, right? You go out there and you like the view, you like the weather, you like the really unique holes, and everything that comes with that experience.
Yeah, I think the word to use would be the continuity of it. You're taking in the design, you're taking in the day, you're taking in the change of environment. One thing I love about the Cape, because I'm down there pretty often, is the smell. It smells different. You get like the sea breeze, right? Like even if you're not even close to the ocean, it's a relaxing vibe.
If you go from say Massachusetts to New York, Connecticut, like if you stay within the mainland, like it's pretty similar. You're not really feeling that like you changed environments too much. You go down to the Cape, no matter where you're from, like you can tell you're somewhere different than normal, and like it makes you, I don't know, it kind of gives me at least, like when we went down there, it's like, man, like I really feel like I'm here to play golf, right? Because it's not like the practice, right? Like this is like going to be a test of my skill. How am I going to do the best I can?
Yeah, that's a really good point. So that's kind of the difference between the two extremes that we're going over today, the casual versus the competitive player, because you see it as a point where you're like, man, this is completely foreign, but it's still golf, and you take it as a position where you're like, okay, this is different. I need to perform. I need to do that. Me, on the other hand, who's, I've been down on the Cape a bunch of times, and I haven't played a lot of Cape golf, but I see it as like the sea smell, or like, the different kinds of trees. Like, I see that as a much more relaxing environment. So even in those tournaments, right? Like, obviously I'm gonna play how I play and overthink the shit out of everything. but I'm, comparably to other tournaments, I'm way more relaxed, way more not in the casual, like obviously I'm not casually playing a tournament, but you get that relaxed feel, you get settled in, you take in more of the views rather than just
I can see that point.
Flag, number,
right,
club, like, so it's an interesting take, and that's what makes golf beautiful, because you can play it in so many different like mindsets as well.
Yeah. And we've obviously both been there, and I'm sure a lot of you viewers have as well. Like when you're playing, wherever, right, and it's just the hole looks like a, ocean. It's just, you can't miss.
So
everything is just like flowing, and like you realize like, oh, this is the easiest sport ever, right? And then you go to a course you never played before, and you aim at the wrong green. That's the two major differences, and it's just two different, polar sides of how you can experience golf. A lot of people, obviously golf is, a luxury sport to the common eye, and you can, but a lot of people just look past the intricacies that you can really get into. And when we go for a tournament, the whole like environment to me feels like the day before, the car ride up, the hotel, like everything about that is like, just seems like it's a part of the competitive experience, right?
It is.
I take that stuff in, but when I get on the course, it's like
golf.
It's
Club, ball, flag, number.
Yeah.
Flags it, makes a putt, wins a tournament. That's
definitely a day in the life.
No, I like this topic a lot, because you can tie it to how you mentally prepare yourself to go play golf. To touch on how the design and your anticipation forms your mental.
Yeah.
Like, from personal experience, I can talk about how the best round I've ever played was a rainy day, where I was saying, I'll go get 9 holes in. I had class, I left class, and I was like, I'm just gonna go hit the ball around. Might not even finish 9 holes, played 12 holes, because it was a shitty day out. It was pouring. And then, you end up not thinking about your score, and you make a few more birdies than you think, just playing, brainless golf. And you end up playing really well when, you sometimes go to a course, and, another personal experience of mine that I can touch on, I'm sure you have some of yourself as well, like second day at Rutland, I'm like, man, I played really well on that course yesterday. Like, I could go even lower. I could hit it way better. I could do that.
Yeah.
And then, you shoot so many shots higher.
It's easy to look past when you play around and say, like, for example, like at that tournament I shot 75, right? And I had a triple, I had like 2 doubles, and I'm like, there's so many shots out there, right? But you forget about the shots that you got. Like I hold out for an eagle from the middle of nowhere. I should have made 5, right? Okay, well that's 3 shots, right? I did get. And you think about, I made like a 40, I made like a good putt, right? I could easily just not made that. So it's easy to always just fall into that trap of like, I could have, and then you go up the next day, and you're expecting
all those
and all of a sudden
could-haves.
you get off to a bad start, and then like it just collapses. So, and that's another thing. Like when we had our home tournament last year, like the home course, this was the first time we're going to a tournament at a course I've played.
Yep.
Right, and I'm like, okay, like this is different because I'm still trying to prepare golf-wise, competitively, but I don't really need to focus as much on the course because I know it a lot more.
Yeah.
Right? Like I know how the greens break, and you go into that and you don't know what to expect, right? And I'm expecting, honestly, I didn't know because I didn't really know how I was hitting it at the time. I was just kind of like that was gonna be like
hitting greens with driver.
And then all of a sudden, I shot 2 under on the front 9, right? And I'm like, whoa, like
that's crazy.
This doesn't happen often. What the hell's going on here? And then obviously
the tail, the age-old tail, Liam.
Bad finish, but
that takes up a really interesting point. You play a course all the time in a certain mindset where practice, obviously, it's not. It's probably in between the competitive and casual. If we're going to put it on the graph, right? That story you just told just reminds me of my club championship. Playing a course every day for fun, hitting giggle golf, and then the second that the pressure's on, it just collapses.
It's a whole different. It's
crazy.
Different thing. I didn't know if because leading up to that tournament, I'm like, man, like I hadn't really necessarily been playing like that great. I sure as hell hadn't shot 2 under on the front that year, and I was thinking like, I don't know if this is gonna go like how practice goes, where I'm kind of just like lazy-ish. Not lazy. I don't like to say that, but if I'm being honest with myself, I'm like, maybe I'm not as honed in, or I get off to a bad start. And,
you're like 70%.
But next thing you know, like I bogeyed my first hole, right? And I'm thinking like, oh well, and then I just didn't make many mistakes the rest of the way, and I'm like, man, like I wonder if I shot 2 under because it's a tournament and I thrive in that environment and it makes me focus. Or I don't know.
It's your home course.
Yeah, it's weird.
It's really hard. It's really hard. It's the mindset. It's interesting. I think you do thrive in environments where you're under pressure. You feel forced to perform.
Yeah.
You're in a you're a very competitive person. We know that. And you get pushed to perform. And when you get pushed to perform, there's so much more incentive.
Exactly.
And even because it's your home course, even if that comfort is there, you can kind of overcome that, and you can kind of use it to your advantage.
And honestly, I think, sorry to cut you off, but
no, you're good.
Being 2 under made me stay focused because
now you have something to play for.
I hadn't been there often, right? Instead of, say I got off to like a normal start, right? Say I shot 3-4 over on the front, right?
Which isn't a bad score,
but not necessarily great, right?
It's not great, but it's bad.
Say I got into that like, oh well, it's just another normal practice, normal day, like play my golf. Okay, all of a sudden I'm 2 under through 9, and I'm like kind of fucking nervous, right? I'm like, well shit, like now I'm forced to really focus up.
Yeah.
And I don't know,
whatever happened, but it's an interesting point.
Yeah.
It is a really interesting point because, this is kind of where you have that mental battle where you're like, on that back 9, like, did I fall because I got too focused? Did I fall because I put expectations?
Or it was because I had a 20-minute wait on everyone.
Yeah, that too. So golf, the variabilities of golf are crazy. And your mental, your mind state really, it exuberates that. I feel a new strategy that I've been trying to put in is to not think, to be unconscious when I play. And not to be like you, where you're in tournaments where you're so focused that you see green, flag, club. Like, I don't want to think like that necessarily, but to the point where it's
get your information and then go unconscious.
Yeah.
And I think like if you
hit a golf shot and make a golf swing.
Don't think during your swing of the number or the trouble or anything, right? Get your information right before you step over the ball, right? And then when you step over the ball, that should be it. And I want to work on that, but it's tough.
Yeah, it's definitely tough. But it's interesting how a lot of the aspects of golf tie into other things. It's very hard to relate course design to mental game, but we just did it.
Play tricks. Yeah, it plays tricks at you. I always like the layouts of course, not necessarily like actual design of the holes, but like where the holes are placed in order. You think of like, oh, do you have a scoring opportunity between these holes, or are these holes hard and you're trying to play defensive? We think of like the bear trap at the Honda. It's like that has a stigma of like you're gonna do bad, right?
Yeah.
It's a hard hole. But if you go into that with a thinking like, I'm gonna take advantage of these hard holes because everyone else is gonna fumble on them, and I'm gonna be the one that goes and makes 2 birdies on them.
Yeah.
Okay. Sepp Straka, congratulations, you've won the tournament.
Yeah. It's crazy. There's a lot of hard stretches on tour. I can't think of any off the top of my head right now, but like you said, some of those golfers who are like, instead of being scared and play defensive, get on it.
take advantage where other people are going to fall.
And that's where I think I don't know where I always net out. I think when you're playing a tournament with a really high level of competition, right? Personally, like I'd rather there be more variables like rain and wind, because I feel like that would allow me the best chance to have the higher finish, right? If it's a bright sunny day, and the better golfers are gonna do better, right?
Yeah.
And you want to hope, and yes, if there's rain and wind, I could do worse than I would on a sunny day, but maybe the field average is worse. Maybe I have a good day. I think
you don't feel as bad.
You try to take advantage of what other people may see as cons, and you try to instead of be oh man, it's gonna be 60 degrees and raining all day. Oh, it's gonna be 60 degrees and raining. Okay, a lot of the field's gonna be complaining, being mad. Let me, just take advantage of that.
Yeah, I mean, again, something that I keep on bringing up is, rainy day for my best score ever, and my club championship was 85 and sunny. Perfect day. It rained 2 days before, so it softened up the greens to enough where they were nice and cut. All the greens rolled perfect. If you guys have ever played in a rainstorm, not drizzle, but I mean pelting rain, that your approach shot could go and stick, or it could take one big ass bounce and spin a shit ton. There's so much variable.
Yeah.
There's so many variables, and I like how you said when there's variables in golf, when there's external factors that take over the course. I guess you could say you're focused way more on those than the actual course itself. Golf becomes more subjective, and a lot of players who struggle to play in difficult conditions, like some of the skilled players, what are you going to do about that? You have to take advantage.
Yeah, you have to view it. If you view it as a bad thing, it's going to be a bad thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're just going to make that. If you drill that in your head, we always talk about the second hole at Cold Spring as being a super hard hole, right?
And it is.
Well, guess what? Every time we step over the tee shot, I guarantee you we're both don't hit it in the hazard, right? It's it's just tough, and when you can overcome that, I know we leaked a lot into mental game here, but I'm cool with that.
No, it's cool.
It ties right in.
It's cool. It ties in.
If you really tell yourself something, it's gonna happen eventually, right?
Absolutely.
And that's why if you tell yourself, hey, I'm gonna make birdies on these par fives, it might not happen that day, but just keep that mindset, right?
Yeah, you got to manifest it. You got to manifest anything in golf. If you aren't your biggest fan on the course, what we see with a lot of high handicap golfers, you'll be like, man, I can't get rid of this slicer, or man, I struggle with this, or this is a really bad part of my game. It's important to recognize those things, but it's also important to be you know what, I'm gonna work on it. I'm gonna own this hole. I'm gonna show up to the tee shot on 18 in Cold Springs when I'm even par, and I'm gonna hit this tee shot.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna bunt something out there and play. I'm gonna hit this tee shot.
And
I'm gonna snipe this shot.
And that's where you need a lot of experience, because first, when I am in those situations where I'm having a good round and I start maybe playing defensive, it's the more you do that, the more you realize hey, that's actually not the mindset. Or when you're a few under par, you don't want to be hey, let's not lose this. You want to be
let's get more. Get hungry.
2 under through 9, I should be 4 under through 18.
Yeah, you have to get hungry.
Have that kind of mindset, and that's something I got to work on more. There's a reason you got to that score in the first place, right? You're hitting it well, you're putting it well. If you start being hey, hopefully I just don't blow it.
Yeah.
I can attest to this. I've done it a few times now. So it's
self-doubt. Golf is a game of challenging yourself. You will never play golf. You can play golf in the tournament, but you're always playing golf against yourself. That is the first enemy you're always going to face. And overcoming your personal goals and fears and challenges, just like in life, is so much more important. You can't tackle anything else if you don't get above yourself.
Exactly.
So you see these tour players, right? They talk a lot about it, where they're not worried about. They're obviously gonna say to the media they're worried about the competition, right? But let's use for example, let's use John Rahm, number 1 player in the world. Every single tournament, every single person is expecting him to play a stupid level of golf, which he does, and he's incredible. He's incredible, but
no argument there.
But let's think about him, think about how mentally difficult that is to be oh, I need to do this. Like, this is what I have to do.
That's when you guys gotta have a good process and stick to it and trust that that's got you there in the first place. Don't change anything, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you're not making putts for a couple holes, like, they're gonna go in eventually.
Mm-hmm. And again, to tie this to our overarching topic of course design, you have to go in with a completely set mindset or completely fluid mindset. You need to see what works for you. And I feel like having the right mindset and balancing out however you want to see the course, whether if you want to enjoy it, because if you enjoy a course and take it as an experience, you're going to be less stressed. You know, you take it as club, ball, flag, like hit the shot, you know, when that doesn't pan out, how are you going to react?
Exactly. When you practice all the time, you're not practicing like, oh, how am I going to like, because you can't practice a tournament environment, right? You can't practice the pressure of like having a bad round. You just can't unless you, I don't know, have money on the line or something like. But even that, it's just different. You're not with actual playing partners in an actual tournament environment, so you just got to keep playing tournaments, and that's when you'll learn a lot about yourself and your game, and you know how can you go around the course the best way possible, no matter how it's designed. Right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Even if you're not in favor of the conditions or how some of the pins are, or just the hole in general, like if it doesn't fit your shot shape, like you got to come over that at some point because everyone's got to play the course, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it just really comes down to, I guess we just tie this into a whole mental segment too, because I guess it comes down to how strong you are between the ears. I mean, are you gonna, you know, be complacent and allow yourself to struggle and allow yourself to have those bad thoughts, or are you gonna like be like, hey, listen, like I am going to do what I need to do in order to play the best golf.
Yeah.
Despite any other variables.
Yeah,
and that's my 2 cents. That's
I'm gonna wrap up my piece here. Is everybody has a different golf game. Everybody's gonna see a hole differently. Everybody is going to have a different shot shape, ball flight, swing, you know, tendencies, whatever. You know, that is the beauty of our game, that you can't solidify one thing for everyone. So to some degree, you have to play your golf. It's as simple as that. And I can talk a little bit more without getting too far into it, but you know, playing your golf, having your swing, you need to do that at every course. You need to conform to the course to some degree.
Yeah.
Because you can't play good golf if you don't.
But you're going to play worse golf if you don't play your own game.
Exactly. So keeping, like you said, you know, staying and strengthening, you know, the best club that you have, which is, you know, the one that you're always with in between your ears, and getting everything situated, you know, with yourself is going to allow you to go to any course like these tour players and just absolutely tear it up.
Well, I think that'll about do it.
Yeah, we're gonna chill nerding out.
Yeah. So make sure you guys are following the podcast, subscribe to the YouTube. Our socials are in the link, description's in the link. Check out the Instagram, we got some cool content going up there.
Stay tuned for our bracket, it's coming out.
Yeah, we got a bracket we talked about. That'll be cool. I think
that's gonna be a lot of fun. We're gonna get you guys involved.
If you wanna you know,
in the description.
Yeah. So thanks for tuning in, guys.
Appreciate it, guys. We will be back soon, and with hopefully better weather, with some more golf soon. So take it easy.
Cheers.
Cheers, boys.